Our next session is going to give us a landowner's perspective. So Dawn Butzer from Beersford is going to be speaking, and she'll be joined by Matt Stoltenberg with Stoltenberg Consulting to help us understand more from the landowner's perspective what they're thinking about.
Good morning. My name is Dawn Butzer. So thank you for having me this morning. And I found my people, Matt. He's been pretty great through all of this. And your presentation that right before us, they nailed it. So I don't even know if I need to say anymore. That's exactly what I experienced. So, but I'll go ahead and tell my story. Maybe I'm a landowner, but I really think why we're all really here today is we're land stewards. It's not ours, it's his, and we're just here for the greater good, to make it good for our great grandkids. So I guess this is my stewardship story. So a little background. I was an only child. I had to be with my dad and grandpa on the farm every day. And it drove me nuts how my grandpa analyzed the ground. But I really learned how water flowed by my grandpa, and I didn't realize that I learned it until 40s. And now I'm neurotic. I see it. But this is my family. This is why we do this. We're an implant to south of Sioux Falls. We just wanted to raise our kids on a farm. Our jobs led us there. Our bread and butter is cattle, everything cattle. So my husband's a order buyer. We run pots to pay for our health insurance. We have a collection yards and ship slaughters out. And then we have a purebred Red Angus herd. The Red Angus cows is probably what's fueling this restoration project that we're doing. We just want to have fat, greasy red cows on Highway 11. That's the long goal. So we purchased a farm 2 miles from where we live in 2019. We let a gentleman farm it, actually a Sioux County farmer. And I don't know if I'm not here to, I guess the reality of where we live is, I'm in tillable country, but I love cows. And so this is the farm. It's 100 acres. It's all tilled up. It has a creek running through it. There is a lot of pressure because we live next to some of the largest CAFOs in the Midwest. They're looking for places to go with manure. And so really we got really lucky that we were even able to purchase it because of this. They look at us like we're crazy that we want to convert this to grass, which plays a mind game with me because I'm like, who is really going to help me? They're just gonna say throw it back in corn, but I was determined enough to figure it out. So these are the list of people. This took me about 6 months. So I came within a year ago. I became in charge of 260 acres. I went from 10 acres that I just dabbled with to 260. I knew I wasn't smart enough to figure it out on my own. I probably should get some education on it. So I went to Deacon Pete. He goes to my church. He runs a Southeast research farm in Beersford. And I shook his head going out of Mass Sunday morning, and I said, hey, I got this project. I said, what do you think? And he was real short with me. He said, call Sarah and Mitchell. So I called Sarah and Mitchell. Well, Sarah Bowder says, well, maybe you should call Dan Rasmussen. You know, he kind of does some stuff. You know, it's all gray, super gray. So I called Dan, and Dan, you here? I thought I saw you. Yes. Dan responded to me. He was quick. He had follow-up. And let me tell you, that means a lot. My time is precious. And it meant a lot. I'm not a busy person, but every minute counts. And so then so he told me to go to grazing school, so I did. But in the meanwhile, I was like, well, maybe I should contact my local NRCS guy. Corey kind of helped me, but then I went to Marvin Grazing School, and then I talked to all the representatives there. Well, that became a little overwhelming. But it was good. But I went through about 5 guys until Dan Nelson, did I see Dan here? Dan turned me on to the Ducks Unlimited process. Now, mind you, as the land steward, and now this took 3 years to prep my husband that we were gonna get no ROI off of this ground for 3 years. And being the pencil pusher he is, it took a lot of convincing for that. It's gonna go 1 year, no cows. Okay, then I learned 2, then I learned, well, probably gonna have to go vacant for 3. But this Ducks Unlimited program that he let me know, that no one else let me know, and yes, I understand there's a lot of programs going on, but I guess as you as field specialist is maybe do the fact finding of what your land steward wants, come back and say, be a bloodhound. This is what I found. So then after grazing school, Dan again stepped up, got me in touch with Matt, and then I finally found my people. Like, he knew my language. And we went to the pasture, which is 160 acres where the cows run. And then we went to, this is the property. Okay, that's what it looks like. And we identified what we needed. And when he identified this, you know, what the 3 people up here said, what I didn't know, I found someone who did know. And then we connected the dots, and that's what Matt and I have been able to do. I'm done with my soapbox. Do you want to speak on this, Matt?
Yeah, just fill in a few, I don't want to call them gaps here, but just a little more perspective on mine. I'm a private consultant, but I work with South Dakota Grassland Coalition on their grazing school follow-up program. So if you go to the school, you're eligible to sign up for the follow-up program. So there's myself and a couple other consultants that'll travel around the state. Look, and every place is so unique. And I work with folks that have been doing whatever you want to call it, progressive grazing for 20 years, but they simply want another set of eyes on it, to folks like Dawn here, who are just getting started in this. And I think the last presentation, you guys nailed it. When I got out to Dawn's, we were looking at 2 different places. One of them was an existing pasture where she had her cattle, and very much in my comfort zone there. She shows me this other place and tells me about her plans, and first of all, I'm thinking, this is incredible. She's in corn and soybean country, some very, very nice farm ground, as she alluded to, and they want to restore this back to native prairie. So I'm excited, but I also know that I'm in over my head. I do not have a restoration background, especially in eastern South Dakota. So that's when I started saying, okay, who do I need to call? Pete was first on the list, and then it kind of spanned out from there. So not to echo the last presentation too much, but one of the things I get from a lot of folks like Dawn that are just getting started out and haven't worked with any of the agencies is when they do start knocking on doors, they're always amazed with the amount of people, willing people out there to help out. So that's just a really good message that I want to echo there. And you guys are obviously interested in this. You're all here, but tell your neighbors, tell your friends. There's opportunities out there to accomplish some of the things that you want to.
It's not just CRP. Pete, did you want to speak on, so this was, Pete then came out, Matt came back, we had a round 2, and so is there a, on the right-hand side is Highway 11. It's a pretty big state highway. In the corner by the pollinators is an acreage there. That's where my parents live. But the lay of the land and Pete standing there, it was his idea, you know, hey, what about pollinators? There's a program through who? The Bee and Butterfly Fund. Bee and Butterfly Fund, okay? Did you know that one? All right. So then, you know, putting grasslands on the outside, the creek runs down the middle. Mind you, I wanted to clean that up a little bit, and my dozer guy in the area, I said, would you come clean this up just a little. I don't have time to do it. And he says, you want me to take all the cottonwoods down? And I said, no. I said, that's going to be shade for a cow someday. And he laughed at me, which probably gave me a little more gas in my tank to be like, well, I'll show you. So, but now the biggest question is, and I think this is part of the workshop here, is where the grass mix. And I knew you're not going to throw brome seeds out there, but I did not realize that this was going to grow legs and be as intense on what does this seed recipe look like. So hopefully by the time I go home, I hope I have a seed recipe.
So this is Josh talked to us about art earlier, and this is Dawn's canvas. So this is really cool. This is just ideas. This is her and Matt, her husband's canvas to really paint. But when we were out there in the field, if you remember, the reason that I kind of made it this way is that it's hard for us. I started doing the topographic overlay on my maps. I use Onyx a lot because it really gives you a lot of a better feel for what the land actually looks like. We're always looking at things just on a flat surface almost all the time when we do our mapping and our landowner projects. I really like doing this better. The reason is that Don's parents, right, live in the acreage, right? And they were talking, Matt and I and their family, we were just kicking the dirt and talking about what their goals and objectives are. And we're going to get into this in the next couple presentations, but it's our job to try to entice the landowner to think back in their own memory bank so think back to the old things that you used to want when you were a kid and the new things that you want as an adult. And one of the things we talked about was just like a little bit of hunting or recreation, or what did they want to see when they walk out of that building site? What was the first thing you want to be hit with? And Don's like, well, I want to see fat, greasy cows. And then it was her words like, I'd love to see like butterflies and bees and things. And so because of the way the land is there, and I think you even had an education component, like it'd be really cool if kids could come out here. You said that. So just kind of trying to line things up for easy access, livestock in the future, easy access from the road for say visitors, school kids or whatever. Cool looking out the back door. That's also a drainage that comes up through there where the deer, after we started talking a little bit more, that's where the deer and the pheasants just kind of naturally are, so give them a little bit more to work with and not interfere with their long-term grazing plans. So that's the only reason that this is very simplistic right now, but it's just that role of the resource persons, and the only other thing I wanted to say to this is the whole theme of this thing is partnerships, this whole morning session. And the most interesting person in this discussion right now to me is Matt, because Matt had the courage, as a friend, and he's like, hey, what his words were, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, but how can you help? And then that just gets the ball rolling. So. And
that was huge. And your team up here, the trio, did the same thing. And you don't ask your priest to change the oil in your car. You go to the expert, and I'm the first one to say when I don't know.